The call came late afternoon, just as Daniel Brooks stood in his driveway with one hand on the car door and the other digging through his pocket for his keys. The street was quiet, bathed in that soft golden light that made everything feel safe, predictable, normal. His phone buzzed. Unknown number that he frowned and answered. "Hello, Daniel Brooks?" The voice was rough, almost shredded, like it had been dragged through gravel. "Yes. Who is this?" A pause stretched long enough to make his skin prickle. "I think you need to know something," the caller said, "and I don't have much time." Daniel laughed under his breath. "Know what? There's a camera in your house. In the ceiling. It's been there for years." The laugh died in his throat. "That's not funny." "I'm not trying to be funny," the voice replied. "It records straight to the cloud. Automatically. Tuesdays are the most interesting." Daniel's grip tightened on his phone. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because what they're doing to you is wrong." A quick inhale. "And whatever you do, don't tell your wife. If you do, everything disappears." "Wait, who are you talking about?" The line went dead. Daniel stood frozen, his house looming behind him. The windows looked the same. The front door looked the same. But the feeling was gone. Something had shifted, like the ground beneath him had cracked without making a sound. He didn't go inside. Instead, he drove. The address he'd been sent led him to a small, well-kept house on the edge of town. An older man opened the door, his expression heavy with something between regret and relief. "I owned your house for 30 years, the man said after Daniel introduced himself. "Built it, raised my kids there. When I sold it, I forgot about the system." "What system?" Daniel asked, though part of him already knew. The man stepped aside and gestured him in. A laptop sat open on the dining table. The cameras, old security setup, hardwired, cloud-backed. "I checked it last week to make sure everything was finally shut down." He swallowed. "I saw things I couldn't unsee." He turned the laptop around. Daniel's living room filled the screen. The angle was wrong. Too high. Ceiling level. A timestamp blinked in the corner. Tuesday, 2:14 p.m. Daniel was always at work then. The front door opened. Claire walked in, her hair down, laughing freely. Behind her came her mother, composed and sharp-eyed, and then Jenna, wine bottle tucked under her arm. They moved through the house like it belonged to them. Music on. Shoes kicked off. Wine poured. "I still can't believe he fell for it," Jenna said, dropping onto the couch. Claire laughed. Not the polite laugh she used with Daniel. This one was easy, real. He wanted to feel needed. "I just let him." Her mother smiled faintly. Men like him don't ask questions when they think they're in control. Daniel felt his chest tighten, like something was slowly being cinched shut. The video cut to another day. Same angle, same room, paper spread across the kitchen counter. "This has to be framed as temporary," her mother said, tapping the documents. "Power of attorney sounds scary if you say it wrong." Claire nodded. "I'll tell him it's just in case. Starting fresh, like it's his idea. He'd never notice." "And once it's signed?" Jenna asked. "We finalized the switch," her mother replied. "Accounts, assets, everything." Claire lifted her glass. "To freedom." They clinked. Daniel couldn't move, couldn't speak. His body refused to react, as if acknowledging what he was seeing would shatter him completely. Another clip played. "He trusts me," Claire said casually. "Always has." "I almost feel bad," Jenna muttered. "Don't," Claire replied. "He wouldn't survive without me anyway." The screen went dark. Daniel stared at his own reflection, warped and unfamiliar. This wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a fair or a moment of weakness. IT was a planned, a careful, patient dismantling of his life, carried out by the people who kissed him goodnight and smiled across the dinner table. A family working together to hollow him out from the inside while pretending to love him. "I'm sorry," the old homeowner said quietly, "but you needed to see it before it was too late." Daniel stood slowly. Something inside him had gone cold and steady. They thought he was powerless. They were wrong. Daniel went home that night and played the role of his life. He parked in the driveway, walked to the front door, and kissed Claire on the cheek like nothing in the world had changed. She smelled the same, smiled the same, asked about his day with the same practiced warmth. "Long," he said. forcing a laugh. You. Quiet, she replied easily. Just caught up with Mom earlier. Every movement, every fake laugh, every sweet word now felt poisoned. But Daniel didn't flinch. He didn't rush. He understood one thing with brutal clarity. The moment he confronted her, he lost it. Oh, he smiled. He listened. He waited. That night, locked in the garage under the pretense of reorganizing tools, Daniel sent a single message to the former homeowner. I need the full video files. Everything. Original quality. The reply came fast, already exporting them. Over the next week, Daniel turned his home into a quiet battlefield. He planted microphones where conversations naturally lingered, the kitchen counter, the hallway corner, beneath the dining table. He routed a backup feed to the home router, upgraded cloud storage under his shell account, and labeled everything with timestamps and redundancies. They never noticed. They were too confident. You're sure he won't contest it? Jenna's voice crackled through Daniel's earbuds one afternoon while he sat alone in his car. Claire laughed. Contest what? He's pathetic. Just wait 3 more weeks. Her mother's voice followed, crisp and decisive. Once the funds move, he's useless. So we cut him off clean, Jenna said. Tell him we need space. Sell the house. Daniel closed his eyes, steadying his breathing. 3 weeks. They had given him a deadline. Without knowing it, he wasn't a victim anymore. He was collecting them 2 days later. Daniel sat across from Harold Maddox in a quiet office that smelled faintly of paper and old leather. Harold was in his late 50s, eyes sharp, voice calm in a way only experience could earn. Power of attorney? Harold asked. Revoked, Daniel said. Today. Harold nodded once. Good. We'll file it immediately. Quietly. They worked fast. Copies of everything. Bank accounts moved into protected structures. Brokerage assets shielded. The house deed refiled with contingencies. Anything Claire touched was left as an empty shell, clean, intact, worthless. You're baiting them, Harold observed. Daniel met his eyes. I'm counting on it. He left just enough in place to look untouched. Enough for them to keep moving forward. Enough to let them believe they owned the stage. Then Daniel began the performance point one Friday night. He came home grinning, waving a folded piece of paper. I got a big raise, he said, breathless. Didn't want to say anything until it was official. Claire's eyes lit up, not with pride, with hunger. That's amazing. Jenna clapped from the couch. Her mother smiled thinly. I knew you had it in you. Daniel took them all out to dinner that night, ordered expensive wine, bought a new suit the next day, left a small bracelet on Claire's pillow with a handwritten note thanking her for believing in him. They ate it up. That night, Claire whispered into her phone in the hallway. It's happening next week. He's completely in the dark. The forged signature's prepped. His name comes off the deed before he even blinks. Daniel saved the file, backed it up twice. Over the next days, he compiled everything: voices, videos, documents, screenshots. He watched Claire practice his signature at the kitchen table, laughing as Jenna critiqued her strokes. He recorded her mother coaching her through the timing. Playing house. He sent the final folder to Harold with a single line in the email body. It'll be beautiful. That Sunday, Claire suggested a celebratory dinner. Just us and my family, she said sweetly. One last nice night before things change. Daniel smiled and agreed. And as he set the table calm and composed, he knew the storm was finally ready to break. Daniel hosted the dinner himself. He lit the grill just before sunset, the smell of steak and smoke drifting through the backyard. Claire wore the bracelet he'd given her, catching the light every time she lifted her glass. Jenna laughed too loudly. Her mother corrected the wine pairing like she owned the place. IT felt festive, warm, false. Daniel moved easily among them, calm, attentive, pouring drinks, flipping steaks, smiling at jokes that were never meant for him. If anyone noticed the stillness in his eyes, they didn't mention it. Halfway through the meal, Jenna tapped her glass with a fork. I just want to say something, she said, already grinning. Everyone turned toward her. To Claire, Jenna continued, raising her wine. The future real owner of this home. Laughter burst around the table. Claire smiled into her glass. Her mother nodded approvingly. No one looked at Daniel. Daniel lifted his own glass. "Let's toast again next Tuesday," he said evenly. "I'll have something special for you then." They cheered, clinked glasses, drank deeply, never noticing the way Daniel watched them, already seeing the moment everything they built on lies would collapse. Tuesday came quietly at 8:45 a.m. Daniel stood in the kitchen, wearing a plain gray shirt. No watch, no ring, nothing to distract him. Claire floated down the stairs in a red dress, glowing, confident. Jenna poured mimosas like it was a holiday. Their mother paced the living room on her phone. "Last week in someone else's house," she said smugly. The doorbell rang at exactly 9:00 a.m. Daniel opened it. Harold Maddox stepped inside, manila folder in hand. A court officer followed. Claire frowned. "What's this?" Harold didn't sit. "Claire Brooks," he said calmly. "You are being served a cease and desist for attempted property fraud and signature forgery." The color drained from her face. The officer handed over papers. "All joint accounts are frozen pending investigation." "What?" Jenna whispered. Harold turned a page. "The house deed is solely in Daniel Brooks' name. Always has been. Power of attorney was revoked last week." Daniel placed a USB stick on the table. "Every conversation you had. Backed up. Cloud secured." Claire stared at him. "You're insane." "No," Daniel replied. "I was naive. There's a difference." Their mother tried to speak. Harold raised a hand. "Any attempt at retaliation results in public disclosure." Silence fell heavy. "You own nothing," Daniel said softly by sunset. Suitcases lined the curb. Drawers slammed. Bags zipped. Claire came out last, mascara streaked, eyes hollowed, A.T. Wilkins, and row the next morning, Daniel submitted everything. Forged documents. Attempted extortion. Business manipulation to BY afternoon. Claire's future was gone. That night, Daniel sat on the porch with a glass of bourbon, cold air filling his lungs. They thought he'd never fight back. They'd never even seen it coming.